I'm Robbie Ferguson, and here are the top stories from the Category 5.tv newsroom. Back in June, Facebook announced that it was working behind the scenes on creating bots that would understand everything its users type. So if, for example, you message a friend about needing a ride, it will prompt the social media app to bring up a button offering an Uber or a Lyft. Now, Facebook is letting everyone use the software that powers that artificial intelligence. In a blog post on Thursday, Facebook announced that it is open sourcing FastText, a library of code used to identify words and make AI stronger. It works by using a classification system, placing words into categories and subcategories instead of trying to actually understand them the same way that a human brain would. It also learns prefixes, suffixes, and root words. These shortcuts let it learn crazy fast. What would normally take days for other machine learning systems, FastText can do it in seconds. Facebook says it can process 1 billion words in just 10 minutes. So why is Facebook giving it away for free? Well, for starters, offering it up might help Facebook gain favor within the coding community, maybe making it more likely that some of the best developers in the world will want to work for Facebook. But maybe more importantly, opening FastText up to coders and engineers all over the world means more people will have the opportunity to study it and to offer feedback, giving Facebook an easy way to continually improve its technology. FastText is available in Facebook's GitHub. In addition to English, it currently works with German, Spanish, French, and Czech. Cisco Systems has confirmed that recently leaked malware tied to the National Security Agency exploited a high-severity vulnerability that had gone undetected for years in every supported version of the company's adaptive security appliance firewall. The previously unknown flaw makes it possible for remote attackers who have already gained a foothold in a targeted network to gain full control over a firewall. Cisco warned in an advisory published Wednesday, the bug poses a significant risk because it allows attackers to monitor and control all data passing through a vulnerable network. To exploit the vulnerability, an attacker must control a computer already authorized to access the firewall, or the firewall must have been misconfigured to omit this standard safeguard. The vulnerability, which Cisco rated as high, is all the more menacing given the release over the weekend of hacking tools that exploit the Cisco vulnerability. Attacks can now be carried out by a much larger base of hackers. Cisco has yet to actually patch the vulnerability, and instead, the company is releasing signatures that can detect the exploits and stop them before they allow an attacker to seize control of vulnerable networks. Another workaround is to disable SNMP altogether. Check for that setting in your Cisco router. A Cisco representative said the company will release a patch in the near future. I think my concern with this kind of an exploit, I mean, we think about the fact that, okay, a hacker has to actually gain access to a network, but what happens when one of the users on a network actually falls for one of these phone scammers that trick you into deploying a remote access tool in the back end of your computer, or a malware that comes in? Malware that allows remote access to a computer is very common. So if I get malware on my computer that now allows a remote hacker into my computer, and this computer is on the network of the Cisco router, and even if the Cisco router is set up so that external remote administration is not allowed, that's what they're encouraging people to check for. The problem is now I've got a LAN connection. I can connect in and access it that way. But it goes even deeper, because there are a lot of Internet of Things devices that can be exploited because people install them and they don't think, hey, maybe I should change the default password on my fridge, right? To make a silly example. But, think of, all the different devices that are out there that have SSH access, that with that access, somebody could easily compromise an internal network and access things like the Cisco exploit, which would allow them to monitor all of the traffic going through that network. That's kind of scary. So we got to watch out not just for the exploit in the Cisco routers, but make sure if you get new devices, change the password, set up a strong password. I think of the example of a home network where you order new internet service from your ISP, or maybe your modem died and they send you a new one. Out of the box, those modems and those routers, they have routers built into the modem. They contain default passwords and default settings that are easily exploited by somebody who knows what those settings are. So if you don't, as a first step, change those passwords, change the settings of those devices, well, somebody in the know would be able to access your network and then could exploit something more serious like this Cisco issue. So if you're running any device whatsoever, it doesn't just have to be Cisco. Make sure you check those passwords, make sure they're nice and strong, and make sure you are not using any default passwords on any of your devices. Okay, jumping back into the news, let's see what we've got for you. Oh, yeah! We knew this was happening. The ride-sharing firm Uber is going to, for the first time, allow users to hail self-driving cars, and it's happening within the next couple of weeks. Uber said that the launch would take place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it added that it was teaming up with Volvo. At first, the vehicles will be supervised by a human driver who can take control if necessary, as well as an observer. So they're equipping it with a backseat driver. Oh boy. More than 1 million people drive vehicles linked to Uber, but are not directly employed by the company. A spokeswoman for Uber told the BBC, and this is a quote, "Starting later this month, Uber will allow customers in downtown Pittsburgh to summon self-driving cars from their phones, crossing an important milestone that no automotive or technology company has yet achieved." The quote continues, "In Pittsburgh, customers will request cars the normal way via Uber's app and will be paired, with a driverless car at random. Trips in those cars will be free for the time being, rather than the standard local rate." Volvo has already sent a small number of sensor-equipped XC90 SUVs to Uber, which will be used in the initial trials, and the car maker intends to have delivered 100 such cars to Uber by the end of the year. I have to comment, not to digress, but the taxi cab drivers were really, really upset about Uber. There were petitions, as you know, and some of them got pretty nasty. Well, now Uber is seemingly cutting out their own drivers, the folks that are using the app in order to make money and are the ones who were providing services to people hailing Uber cars. And they're cutting them out by bringing in these autonomous vehicles. And other concerns, of course, surround things like, how well tested are these? They're going to put them on the road just a couple of weeks from now. Are they ready for actual use? And are they safe? And of course, being that they have human driver and human backseat driver in the car, the presumption is that they're going to be paying attention. They're going to have their hands on the wheel. Thank you very much, Tesla. And they're going to be paying attention so that if anything goes wrong, for example, a white truck pulling out in front of you, they're going to be able to take control and save the day, like a boss. Okay, onwards and upwards. Hey, happy Internet Day. On this day, 25 years ago, the world's first website went live to the public. The site, created by Sir Tim Berners-Lee, was a basic text web page with hyperlinked words that connected to other pages within the site. Berners-Lee used the public launch to outline his plan for the service, which would come to dominate life in the 21st century. The world's first website read... Thank you, Thunderbird, for popping up there. Thank you so much for that. The world's first website read, "The www project merges the techniques of information retrieval and hypertext to make an easy but powerful global information system." The project started with the philosophy that much academic information should be freely available to anyone. Berners-Lee wanted the World Wide Web to be a place where people could, what? Play Pokemon Go? No. He wanted them to share information across the world through documents and links navigated with a simple search function. The founding website contained basic instructions for how the web worked, including how to access documents and set up your own server. CERN reinstated the page at its original address in 2013, so you can actually see it at at info.cern.ch. Make sure you check that out. It's kind of interesting. The web was initially only available to CERN employees, but just over 2 weeks later, it was made publicly available for anyone who had a computer to see and add to. As a result, today is called Internet Day, made from the words internet and astronaut, and it's celebrating the first steps taken online. Big thanks this week to our community of viewers, Roy W. Nash in particular. We appreciate you submitting your stories to the newsroom. Make sure if you find... Whoa, happy Internet Day indeed. Whoo-wee. If you have a story you'd like to submit to Category 5's newsroom, email me, newsroom@category5.tv. For all the tech news with all Linux bias, with our Linux bias, we do have a slight Linux bias, I admit. You just visit the Category5.tv newsroom at newsroom.category5.tv. And this week for the Category5.tv newsroom, I'm Robbie Ferguson.